Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this important episode of Ignition Time. I'm going to talk to you about what's going on in the election right now and some incredible statistics based on some brand new reporting. According to this brand new article that you'll see on your screen from the New York Times, the two Americas financing the Trump and Biden campaigns. I'll walk you through one of these charts in just a couple of minutes, and I'll provide you with a link in the description section below to the entire article in case you want to read the article for yourself. Before I get into it, my name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. If you want to appreciate our efforts, all I ask, if you want to appreciate the work that me and my team do, is simply click the like button, click subscribe, please enable notifications. That would be your vote of confidence in us, and please share this video with friends and family. That would mean a lot to me personally. Let's just jump right in. According to this article, Joe Biden has outraced President Trump on the strength of some of the wealthiest and most educated zip codes in the United States, running up the fundraising score in cities and suburbs so resoundingly that former Vice President Joe Biden collected more money than President Trump on all but 2 days in the last 2 months, according to a New York Times analysis of $1.8 billion donated by 7.6 million people since April. Just incredible when you actually think about those numbers. Now, this data reveals for the first time, not only when former Vice President Joe Biden decisively overtook President Trump in the money race, in the donations race. If you want to guess when that is, I'll let you know towards the end of the video when former Vice President Joe Biden decisively overtook President Trump in the money race. But it also happens to tell us which corners of the country, geographically and demographically, have powered the remarkable surge from former Vice President Joe Biden as far as the money race is concerned. Okay, you guys want to know, right? Which was the day when former Vice President Joe Biden decisively overtook President Trump? It was actually the day that Senator Kamala Harris joined the ticket with former Vice President Joe Biden. So on your screen right now, you'll see the estimated donors by zip code since April. In blue, you have former Vice President Joe Biden, and the darker the shade of blue, the more the number of estimated donors. Remember, this is just the number of estimated donors. We're not talking about dollar amounts yet. We're talking about number of donors. And the red indicates more donors for President Trump. As you can start to see, in the Northeast, we had more donors for former Vice President Joe Biden. Once we start to get right around Alabama and Georgia, you can start to see more concentrations of President Trump's donors, although there are pockets, if you will, of donors for former Vice President Joe Biden in Georgia as well. But once we get to Florida, you can see how the map changes. By the way, in case you're thinking, gosh, most of it looks red, well, that's because there are heavily concentrated areas along the coast with more people that are essentially more supportive of former Vice President Joe Biden. So we can see Texas, which has more estimated donors for President Trump compared to former Vice President Joe Biden, as we can start to see all the zip codes around Texas. And you can see, again, overwhelming support for President Trump in that state. These are important states, everybody. And then when we get to, as we move towards the other side of the country, we saw Colorado. We're looking at Wyoming here. You can start to see pockets of intense support for President Trump. And then, as you can probably imagine, when we get to the West Coast, big pockets of support along the coastal areas for former Vice President Joe Biden. Again, this is estimated donors by zip code since the month of April. And I just want to be clear, former Vice President Joe Biden has 4.9 million estimated donors and President Trump has 2.7 million estimated donors. Significantly more donors in heavily concentrated areas of the country for former Vice President Joe Biden. And again, this map shows you the estimated donors by zip code. Now we go to Ohio, which is the crucial swing state, and you can start to see pockets of support for both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden, but significantly more donors for former Vice President Joe Biden in the heavily concentrated areas, in regions that actually have more electoral votes. We're looking at some of the swing states. And, we don't know what's going to happen November 3rd, but you can see here the amount of support that, again, former Vice President Joe Biden has, President Trump has, based on data that essentially has been collected. Lots of extremely interesting data here as we go through this. And focusing on the Northeast, Pennsylvania is a very, very important state. You can see pockets of support for both candidates in the crucial swing state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania and Florida are going to decide the outcome of this election. Here's the next outline on your screen for estimated amount raised by zip code, and this amount is in thousands. So when you see that actual number, just make sure that you understand that it is in thousands. So we add 3 zeros to it, and the darker the shade of blue, the more money raised by former Vice President Joe Biden in that zip code. Again, the darker the shade of blue, the more money raised by former Vice President Joe Biden in that zip code. And when you have that red color, Republican red, the brighter the shade of red, the more money raised by President Trump in that particular zip code. As you can start to see, in the states of, we have Georgia, Alabama, we have South Carolina, a lot of support for President Trump in that region. And again, starting to focus on these areas. Very strong Republican base here. And again, lots of money raised by President Trump in those regions. When we go to Florida, you can see big pockets of support for President Trump. Again, if you're looking at this map thinking, gosh, it looks all red. Former Vice President Joe Biden's supporters are in regions where we have a much higher population. So even though geographically it looks like there are more donors for President Trump, there are actually more donors for former Vice President Joe Biden from a numerical perspective, which you saw in the previous chart, as well as in the amount of money that is being raised. And again, very strong strongholds, if you will, for President Trump in Texas. You can start to see those sort of deep red regions in Texas. And this is again broken down by zip code. In California, we do have pockets of support for the president. But again, in the heavily concentrated cities, in the heavily concentrated areas along the coast, the support in terms of estimated amount raised by zip code for former Vice President Joe Biden is simply overwhelming compared to what President Trump is getting. So, just a lot of this data is available because, when you become a donor, if you've been donating to either campaign, you essentially become part of this data set. And, just again, moving on to this important states like Ohio. Ohio is a very important state. You can start to see pockets of support for the president, and some of them are, very strong red areas, which again represent pockets of support for the president, and the blue regions represent support for former Vice President Joe Biden. So that's Ohio right there. It's a very, very important state, Ohio, Pennsylvania, very, very important state. So looking at the big picture, where things stand right now, and again, there's a lot of data to dig into, but where things stand right now is that essentially these are two candidates who are essentially getting their funds, getting their campaign money from, and this is to quote the New York Times, the findings paint a portrait of two candidates who are in many ways financing their campaigns from two different Americas. And the article also reads, it's not just that much of Mr. Biden's strongest supporters come from overwhelmingly from the two coasts, which it does, or that President Trump's financial base is in Texas. It is that across the country, this is the crucial part for my viewers and subscribers. It is that across the country, down to the zip code level, some of the same cleavages that are driving the 2020 election along class and education lines are also fundamentally reshaping how the two parties pay for their campaigns. And pretty fascinating data here. And I'll dig into this in a little bit more detail in future videos, but I do wanted my viewers and subscribers to understand what is actually happening throughout the country. Let me know what you think of this kind of data. Definitely check out the link in the description section below to this article and check it out for yourself. And please comment below and let me know what you think of this gradual shift which is happening. A lot of interesting additional data points in this article, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I really appreciate you watching. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. You can get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to our SMS alerts list. Now, if you want, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you can get added to our email list. Now, you can opt out of the email list or the SMS list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. Sometimes YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So all I ask you to do is in your browser, bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. And then you can visit the homepage of our channel and watch the videos at any point in time that you want. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time because we release exclusive content specifically on Instagram. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is the same. It's also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. So follow us on Twitter as well. Once again, we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time. You'll find the links to all our resources in the description section below. So definitely check them out. Please comment if you want to engage with our community, because our community is growing very, very rapidly. Please share this video with friends and family. That would be your vote of confidence in me and my team and all the effort that goes into this channel behind the scenes. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications, please ignite the subscribe button, because remember, the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.